Some people think that if you don't have the money, you cannot invest in real estate, and it's completely false. You absolutely can. I've done it. I've taught students who have done it, and I know you can. And in fact, by the end of this video, I'll teach you how to invest in real estate with as little as $100 to your name. And if you're new to this channel, my name is Justin, you're wrong, and I've coached hundreds of students to make money in real estate. So the first thing you have to understand is if you have $100, or no money essentially, and you want to invest in real estate, and I'm specifically talking about the people who want to actually invest, like buy a house or buy some kind of real estate, whether they flip it, rental, Airbnb it, like that kind of thing, not wholesale. So specifically talking about investing in real estate, if that's what you want to do, continue to watch or to listen. If that's what you want to do, there's two main parts to it. There's the acquisition and the financing. Now the first part with acquiring the deal, finding that deal, in my opinion, if you actually want to buy, and let's talk about residential homes, because that's mainly what I'm talking about, that's mainly what I teach, is if that's what you want to do, there's only a handful of things that you can actually do that's realistically free, or like completely free, super cheap. And the first thing I'll start with is the MLS, the multiple listing service. That's where you can definitely find deals for free, and I know what you're thinking already. There's no way I'm gonna find deals on the MLS because there's too much competition. There's too many people out there looking for deals on the MLS. Why would I get one over the next person? But you can still find deals there. And I promise that you can. They are out there, and there's not as much competition as you might think. Probably for the properties that are super beat up and like obvious potential deals, super distressed properties where the photos show like boarded up windows, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of competition on those. But when you find deals on the MLS, they don't all have to look like that. A lot of times the deals that I find on the MLS are the ones that just look like normal houses, maybe a little bit outdated, but super livable. And it's not even about the property, it's about the seller. What kind of condition or position are they in? Are they in a super distressed situation where maybe they need to move back home right away for a family's health situation, or someone died, or there's a lot of other things out there that could cause a seller to need to sell a property fast for cheap, which is what you're looking for. And if that's the case, you can definitely use the MLS. Just put in the work. And finding deals anywhere, whether it's the MLS or another method, is you have to put in the work and the volume to actually get these deals. If you don't do the volume, if you don't make all these offers, you're not gonna get the deal. And honestly, at the very beginning, or even when you're kind of experienced, everyone underestimates the amount of work that actually needs to go into finding a deal to actually find deals. And if you actually put the work in, you're gonna be just fine, but you have to do the work. So that's number one. The second way that you can find deals for free are from relationships. So these are talking specifically about wholesalers and realtors. And in my opinion, I kind of like the wholesalers a little bit better because they are kind of trained to find deep discounted deals anyways. That's what they do. Whereas realtors, they come across a lot of listings, and sometimes they're like, hey, I think this person, their house might make sense for an investor. Let me send this to my investor friend. So that's kind of the realtor mindset versus the wholesaler mindset. It's like they're all offering super low on properties. Most of them are doing their own direct marketing to homeowners. So if they find a good deal, it's probably a good deal. And actually, I'll take that back because a lot of wholesalers do send bad deals, but they understand what they're trying to achieve. So they're already kind of in your price range, roughly. And to find deals from wholesalers or realtors, all you really have to do is one, you have to consistently reach out to them. So you have to make those new connections all the time. Consistently reach out to them, whether you're finding them from social media, Facebook groups, networking events like the free real estate meetups that are in your area, stuff like that. And as well as actually building those relationships. So not only reaching out to them one time and saying, hey, you got any deals? Like, yeah, they might have a deal or two to send you. But if you're not building the relationship, if you're not talking to them every single month and calling them and saying, hey, how are things going? Is there anything I can help with your business? Like, is there anything I can do for you? And do you have any more deals that I can maybe look at? If you're not having those kinds of conversations, you're not gonna get deals this way consistently. You definitely can, and you can definitely get lucky if you just call them one time and they might have a deal for you that makes sense for you and your numbers, but most often it's not gonna happen. Most often you have to actually build these relationships. So that's another thing, is MLS or relationships. The third way you can get a deal for free, and there's a little caveat to this because it's not necessarily fully free. It can be, but it's cold calling / texting. If you're doing your own direct marketing and you're talking to homeowners. And the reason why I say there's like a little caveat to this is there are some aspects of this that it works best or more efficiently when you do pay for something, but you can still do it for free. And let me explain what I mean. So when you cold call, typically what people do when they cold call is they gather these list of property addresses that they really want to buy. Maybe it's a certain zip code, maybe it's a certain type of property or a certain seller situation, whatever it is, they gather these list of people or properties they want to buy. Once they have that list, they do what's called, they skip trace the list to find phone numbers for the owners on those said properties. And typically that costs money. Like for every single person, a lot of skip tracing websites, the things that pull numbers for these potential owners, they'll often charge per skip or so per lead to do this thing. And it costs money. Or a free way you can do this, and I did this a lot at the very beginning because it was free, but they weren't the best numbers. Like the phone numbers that I got from them definitely were not the best phone numbers, meaning I got a lot of bad numbers, wrong numbers, all that stuff. But there were some good hits. There were some correct numbers, but I used a site called truepeople.com, and it's exactly how it sounds, truepeoplesearch.com. So I use that, and essentially you can type in the property address that you have, or the owner's name, or both, and you press enter, and it'll pull up potential phone numbers. So you call them all, or you text them all, or both, ideally, and you just try to get a hold of them. Like that's the whole point of trying to buy your next property, is just get a hold of the owner, or get a hold of their realtor. So in that situation, I definitely used that, and it was free. And the cold calling itself was free because I dialed from my cell phone. Like everything was free. However, it took a lot of work. It took a long time because instead of me having a list of 1,000 people and just clicking a button and it skip traces all their numbers to get their phone numbers for every single owner, I had to type every individual address by itself, like one by one, or the owner's name one by one, into that website, True People Search, to pull up all the numbers. And I did this thousands of times. So it took a lot of work. But if you don't have the money and all you have is your time, I mean, do it. If you want to choose the strategy of cold calling and texting, I think there are better methods if you're going completely free. Like I think the MLS and relationships are much better if you're tackling the free route. But if you don't want to do that and you want to talk to the homeowners directly and just gain that experience, perfectly fine. Go for it, do the free version, and you're good to go. And the fourth way that I think you can find deals for free pretty well is door knocking. My very first deal, not my very first, I guess my second, my very first wholesaling deal was found from a combination of cold calling and door knocking. So called the owner, started door knock, and I door knocked specific neighborhoods that I liked based on the list that I had. So I already had some list of properties that I liked, and I could find this information from a website like PropStream, or I can even get list of properties from a title company in my area for just certain zip codes or whatever. And then I would just start knocking doors and just say, hey, like, I want to buy this house. Is it for sale? That's really all you ask. Like, although there are perfect scripts and whatever, like, you just have to get to the point. Like, what are you there for? What are you trying to do? I want to buy your house. Are you selling? Like, it's as simple as that, but you have to do that over and over and over again. And like I said at the beginning, don't underestimate how much work it actually takes. It might take hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of calls or door knocks and all that stuff. And if that scares you, it probably should. Like, if I knew what it took to get into this business or entrepreneurship in general up front, it might have just turned me away from it, and I might have just kept with a W-2 job and all that stuff. But now that I know, like, I know what's on the other end as far as you can definitely crush it with this method or this business, it's worth it. So those are the few methods that I think you can do completely for free and find deals. And that's the acquisition only. In terms of financing, because if you're actually buying these homes, you got to find a way to finance them. And if you want to do it for free, meaning with no money out of your pocket, you only have $100 to your name, there's realistically a handful of ways that you can do this. The best way is to raise private money. If you're not really familiar with what that is, private money, all that is, it's money raised from individuals. So money raised from people that you know, or people that just trust you enough to give you money in exchange for something, in exchange for maybe an interest return, or maybe a profit split or partnership or something, or maybe a combination of both profit split and interest. That's probably the best bet for you if you only have $100 to your name and you want to do this with none of your own money. There is the option of using a mixture of hard money and private money, And if you don't know what hard money is, hard money is a lot different than the conventional lenders that you hear of. Like, it's different than the 30-year loans and those mortgages with low interest rates. Hard money are the lenders where they're short-term loans. They're 6 to 12 months for the loan, high interest rates and high fees up front. And you're like, why would I use a hard money? Well, you'd use hard money because they allow you to do deals that conventional lenders would not allow you to do. So if you found a super beat up property and you try to use a conventional loan, the conventional lender is gonna tell you, no, like, the seller has to fix all these things before you give you this loan. It's like, oh crap. But a hard money lender, they understand that you're probably gonna fix it up and then resell it or whatever. And as long as you're buying at a deep enough discount for them and their standards, then they'll give you the loan. And it's honestly a good thing too, because it serves as a secondary opinion as far as, is this a good deal or not? So hard money and private money, and how you use both is, let's say you use hard money, and most hard money lenders, at least for me, they'll give me 90% of the purchase price. So let's say with 90% of the purchase price being loaned, that means I have to come up with 10% for the down payment. And I have to come up with the rehab cost if I'm planning to flip it. And I have to come up with all these costs up front and the holding cost. So there's a lot of cost associated with this. And if you do the math correctly, like if you actually calculate down payment, your closing cost, and all those extra fees that they charge you up front, if you calculate all your holding costs properly and you're conservative with your hold time, and if you calculate your rehab cost accurately, you just add them all up, and whatever that number is, you go to an individual and you say, I'm raising this $100,000 for this. Here's the deal, here's what I'm expected or projected to make on this property. Are you interested? And then you can start talking about what they want, whether it's interest or a profit split or whatever. So that's how you can combine the two, but honestly, in my opinion, the thing I wish I would have done super early on is get good at raising money. So I would have raised money entirely from private money. And I'm recommending for you to do the same, or at least learn that skill set, because it's invaluable. And if you could do that, if you can acquire the properties for free and you can finance for free, you should be set. The only thing that your $100 would probably be used for would be the earnest money deposit. So let's say you find a homeowner that wants to sell to you directly, and you could say, cool, like, here's my earnest money deposit. It's $100, and that goes into escrow or the attorney or whatever state you're in, and that's $100. And then nothing else is needed. So yes, you can do deals for free or the $100. It just takes a little bit of effort, a little bit of thought and brain power to do so. And if you enjoyed this video, I want you to click on the link in the description below and you can get a free strategy session. Peace.